Hello. This is my second ever time at Lid Karting Circuit on the 20 something. I don't know. It was the 23rd of August 2024. This was just a practice day, but I'm only ever going to be doing practice days at Lid, so that's going to be a regular. As you can see here, I'm getting ready for session 1 with the new kart. We've filled it up with fuel, done all the tyre pressures, everything's ready. I've fitted new stuff to my seat, and as you can see here, I've got some new Sparko K-pole boots, which are very comfy if I do say so myself, so definitely get some of those. And I did get some new Sparko gloves as well. I don't know, I think I don't know if they're K-pole or K1 or something like that. Very nice, very comfortable. Much better than my other ones that were rip-offs. So, it's just a quick thing. Always get cheaper versions of from the actual companies that are well known. Anyway, here's the startup. Not a very great one because usually it goes on the first pull, but that's okay. Right then, here we go. First session of the day, coming out the pits. The cadets are coming in from their session, so it's time for the juniors, as that guy ahead of us will cause us a bit of trouble later in the day, so keep your eye out for him. But already getting past him. Don't know why I did that, because it is straight out of the pits, cold tires, as you can see here by how slow I'm going. Super steady. I'm already spinning up the tires and trying to heat them up a little bit. But then I realise, oh no, petrol's just gone all over my arm. Now, I may not be the smartest person in the world, but I think petrol is bad when it goes on your suit. So I came into the pits to assess what had just happened, and lo and behold, I didn't have a fuel cap. And I had no idea where it went, because as I was fueling up the car, I thought I put it on. I obviously didn't, but I didn't see it anywhere in the car. And yeah, we were in an absolute distraught. Well, I was. Everyone else didn't really, think it was too much of a deal, and it wasn't, looking back. So we were looking around frantically for a fuel cap, and eventually, thankfully, because of the marshals being so good at lid, they found one, which wasn't mine, but they found one. It worked and it fitted on the cart, and we went back out. So I'm getting pulled back, pushing my car out of the pits for the rest of the session, which annoyingly didn't go as I planned it to. As you'll start to hear in a minute, once I put my foot down on the throttle, there is no throttle delivery. As you can see, putting my foot down on the throttle, there is no power. The cart was in a mess, and as you can see my hand up, I was very angry with the go-kart. But yeah, I come into the pits again and, assess it again, see how the kart's going, and I get into a bit of a hissy fit right here. I never recommend having a hissy fit on track. I'm getting angry at these guys. Looking back at it, there was no issue. We didn't know what it was at the time. We kept looking over. But it was okay eventually. And the session ended, so I couldn't go out again for that session. And, yeah, it was a bit of a waste of a session. But things happen, so we called it a day on session 1 and got ready for session 2. So, it is now session 2 on the track. It's about to start. This is my friend here, whose name I shall not confirm. We are going to move the car over into grid slot 23 as the car ahead of me is blocking me and I cannot get out, so we just, pick it up and move it over so that I do have the space to move and get out of the pits. And I just went and helped him move his car out, and the session's already started, so I'm rushing back to get my helmet on, get out on track, because because of session 1 basically, I don't want to lose any more valuable track time today. So I fire up the cart. First pull this time, which is good. Put on my gloves. Everyone else has gone out already, except for that cart that just left the pits, who I have a bit... Well, you should just keep your eye on him, basically, as I learn to not be very good companions with him throughout the rest of the day. Anyway, hopping into the cart for session 2, foot on the throttle, here we go. So, coming out of the pits now, we finally, well, hopefully at least, as I'm trying to find out if the cart is running fine, and it seems and it appears to be running pretty decently, which is good. Weaving a little bit so I can get some heat into the tyres. As I see, the throttle is finally working, so that puts aside my issues. Oh, and there's my friend who's spun off. Went into the gravel. I believe he was blocked by the other car that went out of the pits just before me. So I think you can already start to see where I'm kind of coming from as I nearly spin the car. Whoa, that was close. That was very close. But yeah, first corner for this first flying lap of the day, coming through the first chicane, onto the mini straight, into the second chicane, which is a hard corner. You've got to keep it wide and then tighten yourself up through the corner, keep away from the curb, run it wide, throw the car into the corner, bring as much speed out of the corner as you can to bring it onto a very fast sweeping, up and down, to a sweeping ride. But you want to avoid the curb there. This left just goes on for absolutely ever until you get onto the straight, and you've got to tuck down to reduce your drag and get as much speed as you can. 40 miles an hour through the final corner, and that is a lap of lit. But as you can see here, I'm getting a bit blocked by this guy. Now, I just want to talk on him a bit quickly. As you see, I put my hand up there because it is his first time, and I just want to also clarify, I'm not going on a rant about him. I'm just stating a point. It was his first time on track, and this was technically my first time on track fully. This is my second day, so it's I'm a newbie too, but he was in a Rotax car, so his car was much faster than mine, and I was still quite far ahead of him. But yeah, I just wanted to state that point before things kick off soon enough. But anyway, we're back on track, all getting a bit sliding through the corners. I'm still trying to figure out what sort of speed I can bring into the corners and push out of the corners. This is like my third lap of the day, but into this corner, I throw it in too much, didn't brake, and I spin it into the grass. First spin of the day, of many, I would assume. So I've got to hop out of the cart and, well, basically just get it back into position on track. But this is always a very, you got to be safe with this because there can be carts coming around the corners. But I decided just to lift the cart from the back and push it forward a bit and get back going. So I jump in the car, push the throttle to see a bit, see if it will go, jump in, foot on the throttle, and I'm going again. Now I'm scrubbing the tyres a bit through here so I can get a bit of grass off of them, just so I have a bit of grip, but the tyres will already be cold, so it's not too much of a worry. Besides, these tyres get really hot from all the, racing, which does make sense, so I think all the stuff and debris on the tyres goes off quite quickly. Yeah, but here is where I start to feel a bit of anger towards the guy on track. He is going very slowly. I try to overtake him. He blocks me off and I spin. Now, I know on camera it looks like it was my fault, but he literally did completely cut across me on the track, which I was very angry about. If you didn't know, when you spin sideways from which the tyre should be going, you scrub it and flat spot it, which you don't really want to do, especially when you're holding the brakes like I was, which wasn't a very smart recovery. And I soon learned that when you're spinning, I try not to correct it unless I'm in the way of other oncoming cars. But as you see, that guy spun again, so, what else can I really say on that? I think you're starting to understand what I was saying about that guy earlier on. But yeah, that, I believe, is the end of session 2. As you'll see my hand go up to a signal that I'm slowing down, coming into the pits. And what I do see here in the final corner is my fuel cap of all things. So I try picking it up, go forward a bit, and I get hold of it. How it got there, I have no clue. But I'm not going to ask questions. I've got my fuel cap back, and I am very happy to have it back, and I'll put it on my car and give that fuel cap back to the other guys, giving a thumbs up to the people moving out of my way for me. And I hold that fuel cap up because it means a lot, because I don't want to be losing things early on. So I park up, and that is the end of session 2. So, this is session 3 on the track. As you can see, I'm putting my gloves on and getting ready to head out once again. So, we're off, thumbs up to my mate, and we're out once again. Onto the track, for the third session, foot on the throttle, and we're going. So now I'm going to take you for a flying lap around Lid. I slowed down there just so I could let my mate through, and there onto the main straight, so ducking down into the first corner, throw the car in, onto the curb, through it, run it wide, that was a good turn one. Now onto the mini, straight onto the second chicane, bring it in. I was a bit fast in there, but it was an okay exit, a bit slow, but that's okay, coming through the spoon corner, throwing the car in, putting up the throttle through the final corner of it into the sweeping right-hander, try to miss that curb, sweeping left-hander, goes on for absolutely ever, but I run wide for some reason. Why I did that, I don't know. Could have been trying new lines. But, as you can hear, oh no, my exhaust sounds different. And I noticed that, and you may not have noticed that. I certainly did. Take a listen. I soon found out is that my exhaust muffler fell off, and why it fell off I have no idea, but it did. So it was still attached to the car, thankfully, but the weld had failed, essentially. So I'm talking to my mum here about the issue, and yeah. Here comes my mate, who actually sold me this car. Yeah, having a look. I explained to him there is not, it sounds so different. Takes a look back.
Just broke the exhaust off. Well, you're just under that. Leave the pipe. Leave it again out. That's alright, mate.
How do I break the exhaust? Did you do that?
So he runs off to see if he can take it off with a Allen key. And, well, it's not too much of an issue, but we have to run without a muffler, which can be not dangerous, but not ideal, so that's okay. Anyway, with the exhaust off, we're ready again to get going. So I put my foot down, get a push from my mate, and we're going. I would just also like to take a minute before things get going to have a big shout out to the Green family. Aaron is a genuinely really nice guy at Lid. If you're ever around at Lid and you see Aaron, take the time to say hi to him because he's a really genuine nice guy. And Tom as well. You guys are really good. But anyway, yeah, we're on track again. A bit of a tyre actually just hit my face, which was a bit funny, but yeah, just heating up the tyres for this first few laps and trying to get a feel for the car again, because obviously all these interruptions through the day, and just considering it's the start of the day, aren't ideal, but it's okay, part of motorsport. But this is where things sort of change for me, in the sense that it's never really happened to me. It's always the sort of at the back of your mind in motorsport. And you never really, you're always thinking about if it's going to happen to you, or if you can avoid it, or how you'll avoid it. But when you're in this sort of situation in real life, you really can't. So here's the guy ahead of me, the same guy I've been telling you about all day. He gets on the throttle way too early, spins it, I go to where he's going, and we crash. And, I mean, there wasn't really much I could have done. I know I was on the throttle, but I went to where he wasn't going, he went there again. So I turned the other way, and he went there as well, and we collided. So, you know, it's a bummer, but it happens. We say sorry to each other, I let him go, and we talked it out in the pits later. But, upon review, my whole rear crash bar, which sadly I don't have a photo of, it was completely and utterly destroyed. And when I say that, I'm not exaggerating, I'm seriously saying, like, it was, and it still kind of is, severely bent in, well, ways that it shouldn't be. So, you know. But it did its job, and it protected me and my engine. It didn't do too much good to the guy's front bumper, but I don't really care, to be fair. His bumper was very, well, let's just say it was broken. But I didn't need to take responsibility for the accident. He didn't take any responsibility for the accident. But you can kind of see what point I'm coming from. When he threw the corners up so much faster than him, he just doesn't have any confidence. You know, I overtook him, but you saw on the straight just back there how fast he was. So, you know, it's kind of, yeah, it's a bummer, and I'm quite annoyed about that still, but it's okay. But not a great start to, you know, the day. But we continue. Anyway, coming into the pits again after the session, I am really, like, unhappy with the situation I'm in. I mean, I've been crashed into. Well, I know it looks like, but I was involved in an incident, my first proper one, and this isn't rental karting, which is where I came from. This is real karting, so this all costs money that I have to repair. And that's my friend ahead of me. But the thing is, I didn't even notice that my bumper was bent until he saw it and warned me, but what can you do? That's the end of session 3. Here we are then, for session number 4. Getting ready to go out on track once again, right behind my mate Tommy. I can move up to the pit start, so I do that because I've actually wanted to do that for quite a while. Quite exciting actually, getting ready. It's sort of like a race. Well, getting ready for a race at least. But yeah. Me and the guy I crashed into had a talk about the incident. Neither he or me took blame for it. We checked if each other were okay, and we're fine. It's just minor damage for him, but, you know. We're going, once again. Everything in the past few sessions I'm putting behind me, and I am gonna take as much speed as I can into the session. Which would have aged well if I didn't let Tommy pass, but, you know. Anyway, I let him pass, and then we get going again. And actually, I shouldn't have let Tommy pass, because he spins just up here. So oh, flashback, and I try to avoid him, and I do avoid him, because oh my god, I nearly crashed into him again there. My heart, 200 BPM. That was very, very scary. But, you know, what can you do about that? I think I do try to let him pass at the end of the straight again, because I am a charitable human being. It turns out he's so far behind me, there's no point, so I keep going. Roden Garland hired me for 2025. Anyway, we're continuing on, and, yeah, I spinala once again. Brought too much speed into the corner, tried to correct it, and cocked up. And that's just like, you know, very scary, because last time I did that, not on that curb, but, you know, on the big straight, on that curb, I spun there and grinded my brake caliper. As you can see me checking. Sorry, not my brake caliper, my brake disc. I'm very fearful of doing that again, because it was severely, it wasn't severely damaged, but it looked very bad. But it ran fine after we hammered it in a bit, so that's good. But it's kind of a wake-up call when I spin to lock in, you know, because if I don't lock in, then it costs money. You know, and all my life, which is quite dramatic. I might cut that out. But I'm gonna kind of just let this run a bit more now. I'm gonna be quiet until something happens for a bit, and just let you listen to the beauty of the beast. I made that up on the spot, I'm cool. Watch this. But yeah, that was just a bit of easy driving there. No imperfections as such, that was just some nice calm driving with some nice minimal steering input. Speaking of minimal steering input, look at this stupid move I did. That is what I call minimal steering input. But, as you saw there, in other times when I spun into the grass there, I was trying to correct the steering, so this is actually good learning there, because when I spun, I didn't correct the steering, I just eased onto the brakes, and I stopped before going onto the grass, so that is some good learning right there. What I'm not learning, though, is to stop spinning. I swear by it, I can't stop spinning, and I know why. It's because I'm bringing too much speed in there, as you can see. And... oh, yeah. There you go. That was more a case that I went into the curb and didn't, you know, correct it. But very dangerous, spinning in a very fast part of the track. So I'm starting to get tempted. Do I make a compilation of my spins? 100 likes and I'll do it. I'm never going to reach 100 likes on one of these videos, so don't expect one. Just, yeah. Right then, out for session 5. Heating those tyres up. That is some Tokyo Drift style heating tyres right there. Anyway, at this sort of time through the day, it's kind of easing off. There's only a few more sessions left, and I'm sort of like just trying to really get in some good laps. Like, I don't exactly know my laps, but I've been predicted around 46, 45. Now, the world record around this track in this kart, keep in mind with all the official parts which are faster, is a 41, I believe, so I am quite a way off, but considering this is my second time, I'm doing, you know, decently, so that is, I'm pretty happy with that. But anyway, through the first chicane, through the second chicane, trying to learn the lines as much as I can to see where the grip is, because, you know, I've had all these few sessions throughout the day already, and now I'm just trying to apply all the techniques I've used. Like, through there, did you see that? Minimal steering input through that corner, and it was pretty fast. Through there, that wasn't great. I did touch the curb a bit, so be aware of touching the curbs, especially on the left here. That's where I grinded everything off with my brakes, which isn't great. But, yeah, you can start to see I'm taking more speed through these corners. Oh, that was close to a spin. But yeah, not too much important things, not too many important things, I should say, are happening at the moment, as I'm just kind of learning and applying everything I've got. Another day, another spin. So coming through the first chicane, I should say, I spin. That was a weird one. I actually have no idea how that happened. So I don't really know what to say on that. What I do is get it stuck. I hate getting it stuck because I've got a beautiful under tray on my car, which is Arbon 5R. So, you know, I am quite fond of not breaking it. But anyway, I get going. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, God, it's so annoying when it gets to the part where I've got to stand up out of the car and push it out again. But it happens. The scary part is when people go past you, as you just saw there. But yeah, we're back on the road. Session 6. I believe this is where things start to go wrong. So you guys remember how, well, my muffler fell off earlier in the video. Turns out that apparently it's too loud. Now, let me just quickly state myself here. I had no intention of the muffler falling off, and I couldn't really do anything about it. But when I'm told it's okay to run the whole day, and no one's turned me off for anything, and then I suddenly get, kicked off without warning, is a bit of a letdown, and it really also makes you quite angry. And I'm really angry about this. Now, I know that there are regulations around this sort of thing, and it makes sense, and I understand it. But they could have at least told me that I wasn't allowed to race without a muffler. Because it wasn't... I know it was loud, but considering the Rotaxes were louder, And I'm pretty sure we could have proved it with a decibel meter, I think it's called. But there was no proof that my car was louder, if not as loud as the Rotaxes. So right about here, I actually burned my suit on the exhaust, which was quite funny. I'll just be quiet and you'll see it in a second. I'd say so. Right there, it's been burnt, which was an event for sure, but yeah. I don't know if it's on the camera or not, but I get kicked off in a second by, not the marshals, but the track owner. I mean, what is there to say about it? I couldn't have changed the thing now. I'm not angry about it anymore because it doesn't matter. It's fine. And if it was a health and safety risk or whatnot, I respect the track owner for telling me, and I'll move on with it. It's no concern for the moment. I'm just stating, a point that I thought was quite disappointing and saddening to me, but it's fine. But anyway, I will be going to Lid potentially tomorrow, so wish me luck with that. Thank you for watching the video, and yeah. Come back next time. Thank you, bye.